Damn. That worked out.
Cheers.
Cheers.
We back. Wednesday night.
Yeah. Casual Wednesday night, as per usual.
Damn. That was... I don't know if the popping of these beer bottles was amplified because we're wearing headphones right now, but
That came out of nowhere.
there was some pent up rage in these beers.
Beer wanted to be drank.
Yeah. It was just screaming to get that cap off.
It was ice cold. Didn't want to wait any longer.
That's how it should be, though. Alrighty. Worthless Opinions Podcast, Episode 4.
Episode 4, bitches.
Episode 4. This is a thing now.
Well,
This
yeah.
is an episodic series. Before...
We're still going.
It was
Staying
just,
afloat.
We haven't given up on our hopes and dreams yet of having a podcast that some people might listen to
At some point, if they're bored.
if you got nothing else to do.
Yeah.
And we appreciate it.
We really do.
All right, let's get into it. What's on the agenda for today?
I believe we're going to talk about a few movies.
A few movies we saw, I think 3 in particular. We went to the Japanese Film Festival at the Japanese Cultural Center.
Japanese-Canadian Cultural Center.
Japanese-Canadian Cultural
the
Center.
JCCCC. Because I always thought it was the JCC when I was a child. And then they always corrected me. They were like, no, it's Japanese-Canadian.
And we saw Hirune Hime, which was, I think it was called Achen and the Magic Tablet. And right before we saw the movie, we found out that the English name is now The Napping Princess.
Mm-hmm. Which is apparently a direct translation now, which was, I don't know, I think it sounds better. So, yeah.
Yeah,
It suits
I
the
think
movie
it's a better
door.
name.
Yeah.
Last week we watched Interstella 555.
Yeah, that was pretty great.
It's
It was-
a collaboration between Daft Punk and Leiji Matsumoto. It's in case you didn't know, Daft Punk made an anime.
They made a OVA. They made an original video animation, which was pretty ridiculous.
It's more of an AMV.
That's true. Yeah.
And it's an OVA and an AMV.
It's like an hour long, and it kept my attention the whole time. So, like, yeah, it's pretty good.
And then lastly, we watched The Act of Killing.
Yeah, that movie's crazy.
It's a very fucked up documentary.
Yeah. It's
And, I didn't mention to you, there's actually a follow-up documentary, same director.
really
He goes back.
okay. To put it this way, more than half the people in the credits were credited as anonymous. So this movie is like, it's got some shit in it.
It's a heavy documentary, and it's really incredible that it exists.
Yeah, no, they definitely put in some work and definitely put their lives on the line to a degree to get this footage.
Absolutely.
It's worth seeing.
Yeah. When I was reading about it a little more, I learned it was filmed over like 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, there's a lot in it. They make movies in this movie. So, like, there's like, yeah.
Alrighty, so let's start this off. Hirune Hime, what'd you think?
It was pretty good. It definitely, I saw all of its influences in it. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's just nothing, I can't say it's anything really like, there's some cool moments that are like really original, but I could easily see that being in like an animated video, not being in like a movie.
It was interesting because the art was really, really cool in it. And there was a lot of awesome things to like about it.
Yeah.
And there was so much, but then there was a few things that I just couldn't look past.
It tried to blend that line between fantasy and reality, but
yeah, it was pretty good at doing both, but it wasn't good at blending them.
It didn't commit
together.
to one because then to make it work out in the end, they'd have to commit to one more than the other, because then one would solve the problem that they're having in the end. But that doesn't really happen. It's more like they keep trying to keep it blended to the end, and it doesn't really work.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing is how this movie works is it's half a slice of life drama, half a fantasy science fiction film.
Yeah.
And half of it takes place between a girl's dreams, and then half of it takes place in her reality.
Yeah.
And the whole time, it's very clear that her fantasy is influenced by her reality, and what's happening in her life is influencing her fantasy.
Yeah.
But there's never... they try and create a moment where the dream somehow affects reality, but it never does.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I mean. Like,
that was one of the things I couldn't look past.
Yeah, because in
the
end
she's just narcoleptic.
Yeah, it didn't do anything.
It didn't do anything at all.
Yeah.
Which is what kind of left me a little unsatisfied. I think, I don't know if you remember, but like, I think it was the last 10 minutes of the movie. I just looked at you like,
yeah.
I'm like, what?
And then I was just like,
it's the part when she's hanging from the girder.
Oh,
I'm just like,
I was
what
just
the
like,
hell? Like, really? Like, what? So she just killed herself, like almost killed herself while she was sleeping?
Yeah.
And that's the resolution?
She didn't mean to. Remember the whole thing with the other guy and then he pushed her? Or like, she thought she tried to get away from him, but it didn't work out.
So did the bearded guy try to kill her at the end?
No, the bearded guy tried to like kidnap her and then she ran away. So then, like, while she was running away in her fantasy, she was running away in real life. And, like, what was supposed to be the girder is, like, supposed to be a tower in her fantasy, but it's actually just the girder.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, like, that's the thing. They try to keep blending it, so you have to keep guessing what is what. Because, like, they go, the last 10 minutes, like you were saying, they go on a huge fantasy tangent. And then you can't really tell where they are in reality.
Not at all. That's what I was wondering the entire time.
And then all of a sudden, they're there. And you're just like, well, shit, this looks way different than, like completely different from her fantasy. It's not even close.
Yeah,
it's just like, yeah, she's just on some casual girder. And, like, in her fantasy, it looks like this huge-ass tower. But it's really, she's just in, like, the middle of some community center or like mall. Not mall. It's their business building, but it's like the foyer.
Corporate head office.
Yeah, it's like the foyer of the office.
She's dangling. She could have. She has very bad narcolepsy.
Yeah,
definitely.
from like a 7 or 8 story girder.
But then there's
just
the
like,
whole,
yeah.
There's the whole thing about how like her mom also lived in that universe, or like I don't know if her dad was aware of it. Or,
No. It's the stories. Okay.
Or that's how she sees how her mom passed away. That's how she interprets it.
Because she didn't know. She originally, all the stories her dad told her when she was growing up, and like all the stories he told her, bedtime stories, were all about her mom, but she thought they were about her. And then all of a sudden it hits her that they were all about her mom. Because
Which
she's
is
like,
actually a great moment.
Yeah, because she's just like,
good.
I don't know anything about my mom. And then she realizes that he's always just been talking about, her dad's always just been talking about her mom. But he never made that clear to her because it wasn't really like important. It was more that like she just heard the story to him.
I think this movie definitely gets some originality points. I think I'm not sure what the timeline of production was, but I think they were trying pretty hard to ride the Your Name wave. Just because of that blend between fantasy and slice of life.
No, I don't, because the thing is, this movie also incorporates a mecha element, and a lot of fantasy doesn't do that. A lot of fantasy tries to go off the idea of like magical moments and like, oh my god, this coincidence is only of the stars. But like this movie always tries to bring in
total
like
steampunk and shit.
Yeah, there's this cool ass bike that has a GPS system in it that like can do essentially what it wants if you program an AI into it. And that's what he does. Like that's what her dad does, and it's a pretty dope car.
It's actually a lot of the technology in the movie is very well thought out, and it's cool in that it takes place in 2020.
Yeah.
So it's slightly ahead of where we are now, so it's not totally unfeasible. Like,
and it's not like every car has this technology. He's actually getting headhunted because like her dad was getting headhunted because he made this up. He finished their work. And
people listening to this have no idea what
oh my god. No, it's just they try to incorporate.
But that's the thing, is that's how you feel when you watch this movie, is you're just bombarded with
it's
all
like a
this
fuck ton
stuff.
of shit put together, and it's not bad.
It's not bad at all. It's very enjoyable, actually.
Yeah.
I had a really good time watching
But
it.
I can't really say, like, whenever you think about each
Mm-hmm.
genre that it's like bringing up, you just think of something better you've seen. And then you're just like,
Exactly. It was.
This is a nice meld of everything. It's a great family movie.
It's cool that they put so much effort into it, and it looks great.
No, it's beautiful.
Most of it looks great. There was a few shots that I thought looked pretty under.
Which one?
The part where they're biking through the sky and there's the bridge.
Oh,
It's got like the N64 animation going.
Yeah, I didn't mind that.
I didn't mind it at all. I could totally look past it, but it was just, it wasn't quite.
But that was also like her dreams, because her dreams like
quality.
switched between that. That's the thing.
In her dreams, the animators didn't get paid enough.
Yeah, unfortunately.
In the dreams, they had to rush the production on that shot.
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, it was a very enjoyable film, but there was definitely some things that I had trouble looking past. I'd recommend it because it's a really cool anime.
Yeah, you know what? This really reminds me of The Boy and the Beast, because I really liked The Boy and the Beast, but The Boy and the Beast isn't very, like, original in that sense. And, like, if you watch a lot of old, like, animated films, there are a lot of films like it. Even Studio Ghibli films are a lot like it as well. It's not very, like... There's some characters that are really original in it, and same with this. Like, there's one character that's only alive in her fantasies, which is this, like, plushie toy. And he's, like, the best part of the film. But, like... And the joke about him in reality is that he's always been there, because he's a plushie toy that her mom owned. The main character's mom owned. So, like, yeah, that's the whole idea.
Yeah.
And... You'll always find those characters. That's the thing. This movie doesn't seem very original other than that. Those, like, few characters that they have.
The elements of the film individually probably weren't that original, but seeing them all together, I thought was quite original.
Yeah.
But you're always wondering, like, why am I seeing this right now? When is this going to become significant? And you never really get that satisfaction, even though you kind of enjoy seeing it in the moment.
Yeah, that's the thing. The ending, it's a real family movie. That's kind of the hit at the end.
Is it, though?
Yeah.
I don't think kids could really understand that plot. It's a pretty difficult plot to follow.
Yeah, I mean...
About, like, stealing this, like, technology for a self-driving car and stuff.
But even the characters don't understand it.
Yeah, it's true.
That's the thing. Or one of them does, but the other doesn't.
Quite a few. Well, that's the thing, is that it seems very sophisticated, but then there's some very childish moments in the movie.
Yeah.
And also, I guess the ending is very forcibly happy.
Not forcibly.
Yeah, the dude.
It can only go one way. Well, but that's the thing. Like, halfway through when you realize, for me, like, halfway through when I realized, it's like, oh, so the main character's grandfather is the head of the company, and then there's a CEO that wants to, like, take his place. So he gets, yeah, pretty much, that's it, take over the company. And then when she finds out that her grandfather is the CEO, is when I'm like, oh, they're going to meet up, and oh, it's going to be like that sort of thing. Because, like, the movie's an hour long, an hour and a half, and it's not going to have a bad ending, especially, like, the setup, because I wanted to see, that's what I mean. For me, at that point, it was more about, like, are there going to be any sacrifices in this film?
Yeah, I think
it doesn't have that. So it's a really, like, family-oriented movie, in my opinion.
It is, but it's also, I feel like it might be a bit difficult for kids to comprehend.
Yeah, that's true.
Just between the different realities and shit. But they'll enjoy the journey.
Exactly,
and they probably
they'll
won't
appreciate it. Because they're...
that shit.
And even the characters in the movie, some of them don't even understand it. Essentially, like, the main character
randomly,
doesn't.
the CEO comes down to her at the end and is just like, "You did it, good job," and all she really did was freak out in her dream and almost kill herself. And really, all he needed to see is, like, at the start of the movie, they had already done everything they needed to win him over.
Yeah,
really all her dad.
Well, when she saw him, because he forgot too.
Yeah, I guess. So it was her doing, because she had the courage to go and meet.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I mean, like, when people are, if you're like a chick, if you're like a 14-year-old chick and you're being chased by dudes in suits and a guy with a horrible goatee, I wouldn't be surprised if you fucking ran.
Best part of one of the greatest moments of the movie is when they have that picture of them and then he's just in the background.
Oh my God.
Makes no sense at all.
He's just generic bad guy in the background. And
he's just great. There when they're taking that picture, scheming.
He's in,
they never question it. What was he doing there?
He's like, you know what? I'll save this photo if I ever need to point him out. Like,
if anybody needs to point out a part where that movie makes no sense, it's that part.
But that's just for like, because that's what I'm saying, because it's an hour long.
Exactly.
They got to
It's
explain
just a
things
funny-
real quick.
Yeah.
So that's a great way of
He's
doing
the
it.
bad guy. See?
Right.
Look how evil he is. Look at his
Exactly.
goatee, and he's clearly scheming, and I don't know what he's doing there, but he's evil.
Yeah, that's the same with, that's what I was saying. It really reminded me of The Boy and the Beast, because that's what happened in that, where it's like, the bad guy is clearly this guy, his rival. And then his kids have to deal with the other guy's disciple. Remember how they're arguing? And then at first he's like, I don't like weak people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that's kind of the whole same thing. I really like The Boy and the Beast just for the rabbit guy. The rabbit character is my favorite part of that movie because that's the most original thing to me in that movie.
Yeah.
And that's the same with this. It's more like the mascots of this movie are more original to me than the actual movie, like the story.
I thought the story was actually quite original. How it dealt with technology. And
Yeah, it was
everything.
quite intricate when they talked about technology.
I thought
but
the overall story structure and the way they approached it may have been a bit generic, but the actual story itself was quite original.
yeah,
And it was cool. And one thing I really liked is in the fantasies how they all had iPads and iPhones and how they kind of like worked that into it. I thought the whole tablet thing was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like a Apple like steampunk future.
Yeah, I found it funny that when I heard it was ancient in the magic tablet, I assumed like a stone thing.
A tablet.
Yeah, I assumed because it seemed fantasy, and I'm like, okay, well this is gonna be like a
that
whole.
was kind of a clever thing they did
Yeah,
with it. Is
that's
that
cool.
they reinvented the word tablet because that's what we call a tablet now.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it serves the same function as a magic tablet would in a fantasy story, but it's for 2017, which is kind of cool.
It's surprisingly good at working like
Which is weird.
technology into it, which is cool.
really weird because like
You don't see it often.
it's just weird that like the movie does so many things right and kind of does
It's
all
still
the,
not that memorable, even though it does so much.
Yeah,
Like,
it does.
That's what I mean.
It
Yeah.
does so much, but at the end of the day, I'm just like, I don't really know what to think about
It's
that.
just that's the
Like-
thing. To me, when I watch it, I'm like, this is a great family movie because kids will watch it and kids will enjoy it.
But it's not a movie about some like stupid bunny that
No.
it's
No.
not like a very dumbed down children's movie. It's a pretty intellectual, like interesting movie,
Yeah.
And that was weird. Is that they could have these huge holes in something that is pretty legitimately good, but how
still-
come nobody spoke up and was just like, wait a minute, what about this? I don't know. Maybe it's just one of those scenarios where he wrote the script and it's just like anybody who doesn't like it can go.
I don't think
fuck
it's a
off.
matter of writing a script. I think it's a matter of also writing because the way she spoke also was directly related to like how she looks and where she comes from and
Yeah.
like who she deals with comparatively to other characters and like that's not just writing it from a script. I feel that's like especially with animation, I feel it's a matter of like creating a character first
Absolutely.
and then figuring it out from there.
Yeah.
Or creating like a world or like a story.
Think, yeah, the characters definitely to a certain extent existed to serve the story.
Yeah, they're quite one-dimensional
Yeah.
in the way they act. They're just like, oh, this is what's happening? All right, all my time is now put towards this.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
What do you give Hirune Hime, Napping Princess, out of 10?
7.
Yeah,
Short sing. It's not bad. Short
I
sing.
give it a 7.2.
It was 7. Solid 7.
Yeah, not bad. Worth watching.
Exactly.
We had a good time. Yeah.
Exactly. If you have some time, watch it. Or if you like
If you have
anime.
the means to watch
Yeah,
it.
if you like animated films, just check it out. It's
Yeah,
nice.
it's pretty cool. It's pretty. We can definitely guarantee you haven't ever seen anything quite like it.
Yeah. It's good.
And if you haven't seen it, then nothing we've said for the past 20 minutes has made any sense at all.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
But neither will this movie.
If
so
you
it's
heard
okay.
our review and then watched the film, I'm pretty confident you'd call everything like anyway, because it's not.
I don't know
that-
if you'd remember it because you have no context. I think I don't
There's a
know if
lot
you'd
of shit
remember.
you can just kind of call in this film, though. Once you hear the way it's put, it's just like you said. Once they see the evil guy in the background, it's like he is evil. All right, cool. Main character's not gonna think any other way. Like,
Well, if you watched episode 3 or listened to episode 3 of Worthless Opinions podcast, you would know that we're gonna spoil some shit.
we always spoil shit.
Be prepared. Alrighty, let's move on.
True.
So Next is a film I've liked for quite a long time. First saw this movie I think this was my third time watching it.
Really? Okay. This was my first.
Yeah, it was
My first time.
and yeah, let's get into it.
I
Interstella,
enjoyed it.
5555.
Yeah, it was good. Okay, that's a bad thing to say. Okay. The animator that they collaborated with, I knew because I watched an old series that he made.
I thought you might. I was pretty
And
sure you would.
It's called Space Battleship Yamato, and it's good. It's like just great old Japanese sci-fi, and he used a few character models from it. So when I started watching this, I was like, my God, I know exactly. Because I didn't remember the name of that animator.
Well, that was the thing.
I just knew the show.
I think because he's kind of, like at a pretty legendary status when they
He's
approached
older.
him. Yeah,
he's one of the older ones. He's been around for a while.
exactly. So I don't think they wanted him to create something totally new for them. I think that when they first approached him, they wanted, him to just do his thing.
Yeah.
And I don't think they had a
That's
huge, massive budget or like a lot of time to really make this. So I think it was mainly kind of just like, do your thing, do what you do.
It's true. And he does it well. He always does it well.
And what I think is so cool about this movie isn't really anything about the actual movie or the story or anything, is that it's just literally just the album. There's no sound in the movie other than the songs of Discovery
Yeah.
throughout the whole film, and it's so cool. And it's just a whole animated film that they had to base structure around the track list of the album,
Yeah. But that's the thing. He can do that.
which I think was really interesting. And it's definitely not an easy thing to do because they have to put in sad parts during the sad songs, and then they have to put in faster upbeat scenes, and sometimes there's a bunch of upbeat songs in a row, so they can't create certain scenes at certain parts. And
Yeah, well, they have, but the thing is, they also have a structure. When you're given a structure and you have ideas, it's a lot, I don't know, I feel it's a lot easier to make scenes. Where it's like, I know I have to make three ramp up, and then I can be sad for this long, and then I can be ramp up again for this long. Like, I feel once you know that, especially when like you're sending it to an album, like making an AMV. Once you listen to a song and you're like, holy crap, I saw like 8 different scenes in my head while listening to it.
it's
I
easier
could totally
to
put it together.
Yeah, it's easier
Like,
to work within the boundaries a little bit.
Well, once you know the pattern, it's not as if like someone just throws you a song, you're like, you got to make something to it right now. Yeah, I get that. That'd be hard. But once you've listened to it enough times and then like get the pattern you have to follow, yeah, I could see it being a lot of fun.
But it's a really cool idea, and you can tell the basic premise of the movie is that there's an awesome alien band. They get kidnapped by humans from Earth who take them back to Earth and make them into a pop sensation
Yeah.
to profit off them.
Essentially, the moral of the story is, yo, local, keep it real.
Yeah, humans
Pay for
kinda
music.
Suck at music.
If you like music, be willing to pay for it. Essentially, that's it. And like,
is it?
well, to me, it's more like don't buy into shit for no reason. It's like,
But they're legitimately good. They're not a bad band
they
at
are,
all.
but that's just it. It's just that they're easily manipulated and taken advantage of.
Yeah.
And the idea is like, if you're gonna go into that, if you're gonna go make music, don't fall into that. Don't
Yeah.
sell out. Don't be like shit. As long as I gotta follow this contract, try not to get into those types of
or
situations. it sounds
take
like.
control over your own career.
Yeah,
Don't let
exactly.
other people, just
Don't
take
get-
advantage of you.
Exactly. Don't get stuck in those dead end areas where it's like, ah, shit. Well, I have to make 3 more songs for them, and they have to be hits.
And I
then-
think to a certain extent, they're trying to say with the film is that like, if you let that happen to you, you're telling them that that's acceptable behavior.
Yeah.
And then then it'll continue. The cycle will continue.
Yeah, it'll just because you'll lose popularity, they'll drop you, and then move on to the next people.
Exactly.
and they'll
So
get stuck
it's,
in it.
It's
Like,
to your own benefit to kind of stand up for yourself a little bit.
keep it real.
Keep it real. Be an alien.
No, just
Be
know your
proud.
worth, and that's fair. I mean, you can't sell yourself short.
A lot of really, yeah. I definitely get a lot of your criticism of the movie. I totally agree with it.
Well, it's not like they're great scenes. There are beautiful moments that are still stuck in my head, especially with the song we were just in the background right now, Superheroes. The moment in that movie where that
That's
comes
the high
on,
point of the movie,
it's
I think.
one of my favorite
yeah.
fucking scenes.
There's so much tension build.
It's
up to
beautiful.
that moment, and
And it's played off so well.
really well cut and connected to the music. The whole first act of the movie is brilliant.
Yeah, no, it's great.
love it, yeah.
It flows so well and it sets itself up. And that, like you said, that's the crux of the movie, really. It's just, and then even then, it doesn't totally get resolved.
I always had a bit of a problem with the ending, but I was always able to look past it because it's Daft Punk's Discovery anime movie.
It's not the ending that bothers me. It's the conclusion to the small arc they build in with this crazy dude who has to make.
They bring up a pretty intricate subplot and then don't really touch on it.
So the guy who's stealing aliens from across the world to make them into not just pop sensations, like apparently it was Mozart and everything. Like apparently
he pop sensations of the time, yeah.
Fair enough. But he started every greatest musician of their time, and they were all aliens that he brought from outer space. So his whole thing is that he has to get 5,555 gold records to somehow control the Earth for his cult. It's hard to explain because I don't totally get it.
Yeah, he gets power. I think by that point it became very allegorical, I think.
Yeah, and it's a hard thing to wrap up because essentially they just wrap it up in one giant explosion. And it's like, that's fire, and I get it, because you only have so much time. You have 20 more minutes in this album?
I don't think it was...
And you got to wrap up this huge-ass story you just built? Fair enough, it all gets wiped away.
Exactly. I don't really know if there was a better way it could have ended. Maybe they could have just, not included a lot of that shit.
Yeah, but to me, that's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Because, after that, they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
So you're just like, all right.
Well, that's the thing, though, is that the album still has a few more songs.
Exactly.
So they have to do something.
That's what I mean. That's the only problem I have with this movie, where it's just to me, that was the end of the film. And then I'm like, okay. And then the ending is just essentially the beginning again, but that's not bad. I mean, that's the whole point. They were trying to get back to normal, and they get back to normal, which is good.
Fair. It's fair. You're willing to look past it.
They get back to their roots, and I mean, that was the whole point of it. It's cool, to never forget who you are. And
stay true to, I think, the message of the movie is really cool and interesting.
Oh, no, I definitely agree. And it's just that crazy ass subplot gets me because it's really well thought out and it could go in a million different directions. It's just kind of annoying that it went the easiest one.
Yeah.
That's just the only thing that bothered me.
Damn it, Liji.
I'm like, damn, I wish you guys made a longer
Probably
album.
had more important shit to do.
If you had 8 more songs, this could be incredible. But then again, it'd probably be 3 hours.
It was it was a lot to chew. I guess that's another thing I want to get into more is just what are you willing to look past when you're watching an anime?
Oh God.
And
that depends.
Exactly, it's different for everybody.
Exactly.
It's
but not even
because everybody
not
knows.
Not even for people. That's a matter of genre. That's a matter of holy
I think
shit.
This is especially true in anime because most people don't like anime in general.
Oh yeah, but then they watch something like One Punch Man, which is just ridiculous, and they love it all.
But some people get turned off by that.
No, that's fair as well. A lot of people don't like. There's some people who still don't like The Simpsons, or my mom hates The Simpsons. And she hates Family Guy because she can't deal with the way Stewie's head is. Yeah. She really hates the way he looks.
Some people just can't look past certain things.
Exactly. I totally agree. And
so I guess what are your boundaries, I guess, in anime? What are you willing to look past, and then what are you like, no?
There are no boundaries. It depends on the world you set yourself in. Because, I told you a great example. I don't know if anyone listening watches or reads Boku no Hero, which is My Hero Academia. And it's really well done, and it has a great story. But the problem with it is that they introduce a shit ton of characters. And then they make you try to care about all of them, but more than half of them get dropped off once they start getting into serious moments.
I think that was my problem with it too.
Yeah, and that's the
also
thing.
I feel like when the season's it was 13 episodes.
Yeah, well, there's season 2 now.
Yeah, but within the season, there's not a lot of time.
No,
not
even much happens. It's only like a month.
Exactly, and your time is precious. You really you only have time to connect with a handful of characters, and when they just drop so many on you.
They drop you a shit ton of them.
Exactly, it makes it very hard to, and I guess that's something.
And then what happens if your favorite character is not in the series for so long, and then you're like, all right, then this doesn't really work out.
Well, your favorite character should be the protagonist,
But the thing is, there's so many of them in this series.
It should be the protagonist or somebody else that has a significant role in it, and they can't all have a significant role.
But that's the idea in this, is that they all have the same dream.
They all could have a significant role if it was like 50 episodes in a season, but there's 13.
Well, apparently in the new season, there's a lot of filler that works. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I read more manga than I watch anime, and manga's great for this because it's really concise, no panning scenes. Really love it. It's beautiful. But the manga's really well written. But the thing is, they do drop more than half the characters, and they never mention that. They never cut back to it or anything. Like, you might see them in the background here or there, and like they might have one line or two in like a few chapters, but like that's it.
Well, that's the thing. It's when I feel like when you delve into anime, your threshold for what you can take becomes.
It depends on the genre, man. There's a lot of things. It becomes
a little higher, but it's initially I think everybody's turned off by it to a certain extent.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Unless you see it when you're a kid and you're like, this is for me.
Well, just 'cause
but even then, like. When you're a kid, you like it because of the fighting and shit, and then you see like the.
Not everyone. There's chicks who got really into Sailor Moon, and Sailor Moon isn't really about fighting all the time.
Exactly, yeah. I guess I'm talking from a male perspective.
And chicks who got into like stuff like XXXholic or clamp-based stuff.
Absolutely.
Like in fantasy. Like that's what I'm saying. It's really genre specific because like it's really what you do with the genre you're going into.
Yeah.
Like, and there's a limit to what you like. Attack on Titan got huge here. Or was it Shingeki no Kyojin? If anyone calls it that, whatever. But it only got huge here because it had a shit ton of gore.
I think the general art style was pretty.
It was gore, dude. Junji Ito has been doing that for years, and yet he has not grown as big here.
Well,
you can't tell me that. That type of shit's been around.
It wasn't just it was a blend of all sorts of things that made it big. It was the fact that it didn't look like other anime, I think, was a big part of it.
But that's just it, is that it's been a manga for so long. Yeah. Then it got its shot as an anime, and it blew up.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And Drifters?
Yeah.
Drifters got its shot at an anime, and it didn't blow up as big.
Yeah.
But it's still going to keep going.
Well, that's because that's much more anime.
But it's
a little bit more generic than Attack on Titan is.
That's not true at all. Drifters is way different. Comparatively to a lot of things in its series, it's way different.
I wouldn't say generic. It's more Japanese.
Yes, that's definitely true.
It's more, and I think that's what I think makes Attack on Titan more accessible, is that it's really not Japanese at all.
Well, Drifters is more historical fiction, whereas Attack on Titan is more like really its own original like fantasy.
And I think it's a big cultural thing that people have trouble looking past. I've heard, from friends of mine that can't get into anime, they say that when the animation subtly changes and it's like changes into different styles, or it's like a comedy scene that comes out of nowhere, that'll really turn them off. Or they won't like it when a character emotes and then all of a sudden they'll change to like much simpler like animation.
Oh, yeah. I love that though.
Exactly, me too. And you
I love that because that's how people are. Like,
it's very dynamic and it's fun and it's different and it's cool. And
someone who's immediately smiling can frown just as quickly. Like
exactly, and it's something you can do with the medium that you can't do in live action.
Well, you can do that with any sort of animation. I'm not gonna say just anime, like Simpsons, like Western.
Exactly,
like,
but
you can
that's
do that
not
with anything.
That's
Rick and
not
Morty
really
does that a fuck ton. Like
Yeah, that's fair, but I think generally in Western animation we don't really see that to the same extent.
No, not really. Not to the extreme. No.
Yeah, and you learn to at first it might be something that turns you off, and then you learn to like it.
But that's just like, I don't know. That happens to me with music mostly, where that's just the way of getting into things, I guess. And then the idea, like,
yeah, absolutely. I think
find the one you like,
the biggest,
and then you get into the ones that you do like.
I think when I'm when I'm listening to a new band, the hardest thing to get used to is the vocals.
Yeah.
listening to somebody's voice, and then you might be a little turned off by it at first, but then you learn to really like it. And then what you didn't like about it at first is something you actually really like about it now.
That's the argument of like all metal music. It's just like, why do you listen to screaming? It's like, well, I kind of like it, but not all screaming is good.
Which is funny,
some
'cause-
screaming I like. So.
Because I remember when I was, first, really getting into anime, you showed me a few things that I wasn't really into. And then later I found those things by myself and I got really into them.
Yep.
Because it took me a little bit of time to kind of process these things, break them down, to kind of slowly get up there. And you wonder if that would work for everybody.
No, you have to put in the time.
It takes a bit of commitment. Liking anime is hard work. And that's why people are so smug and pretentious about it. They got shit to be proud of.
Oh my God. But a lot of people, I don't know how to put it. If you want to understand it, you have to read a lot. Now I
don't think so.
That's only if you want to understand it. If you don't, if you just have
it
select
definitely
ones
gives you
like,
greater context for what you're watching.
Yeah,
for sure.
But like if you have so many people love Dragon Ball, but so many people have only seen Dragon Ball.
Well, when I watched it as a kid, I didn't understand what anime was. I just liked it because it was different and cool.
By the time I watched Dragon Ball, I'd seen other ones. I watched Gundam Wing. I watched Escaflowne. I watched like a shit ton of other stuff. And like when Naruto and stuff came out, I'd seen other ones.
Yeah.
So this wasn't really new, but like, oh shit, I love this story. I love it. I'm gonna get into it.
Well,
I didn't even watch all of Naruto. I only saw the beginning.
Yeah. When I was a kid, my shit was Dragon Ball, Monster Rancher.
Oh, Monster Rancher's good.
Pokemon, Digimon.
I only saw the first 2 seasons of Pokemon. I stopped watching it.
I would casually. It was like a show you didn't have to watch every episode.
Dude, it's got like
watch on and off.
It's got like 10 seasons.
I was
now.
more into the games than anything.
Exactly.
But that was
Same
kind
here.
of my anime when I was a kid, and then as I grew older, I don't know. When you get older, you're preteen,
You get into different shit.
You want to be taken more seriously, so you kind of reject a lot of the shit that you liked when you were a kid.
I never did that. I don't know. I didn't really mind. That's the thing. Whenever I watched that stuff, it was always just like, people are like, hey, when you watch Gundam, isn't it just about giant robots? Yeah, you know what? Sure, the giant robots are a huge part of it. But it's also about a fuck ton of political warfare. And like, a fuck ton of people in meetings talking about, hey man, if you attack me, then I got like 20,000 robots against your 10,000 robots. I'm not too sure you really want to do that. It's like, hey man, I could get reinforcements from up in space. So like, you want to go? We'll fucking go. Like, it's not just about it. It's more about like boardroom talk as well. It's about politics as well. But no one sees that because everyone's like fucking giant robots. So
it's true.
Like, it's really what you make of it.
Yeah.
There are ones that are made just purely for fan service with like super hot chicks that are fighting people and like destroying monsters.
Well, that's another thing
that's a whole thing.
That's another thing that me and you are willing to look past is,
I don't watch a lot of that though. Like Kill la Kill or like a bunch of other stuff.
Not even though. Like Evangelion has a lot of fan service.
That's true, but there's like 17 different versions of it. It's not like the original one.
The original version has a lot of fan service.
Here and there, sure.
Quite a lot.
But like, I guess I read the manga more than I watched the anime. I only saw the original anime. I didn't see any of the movies.
Well, you saw the end of Evangelion movie, right?
Which one?
End of Evangelion.
No, this is not the end, or like
no, and the one literally called End of Evangelion.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not too sure.
Oh, that was my favorite Evangelion thing ever.
They're like, okay, dude, there are like 4 or 5 different movies now, and 3 of them are different, like 3-part series.
In general, it has quite a lot of fan service.
I watched it when it like
they don't try to hide the fact that there's
out.
hot chicks in the show.
No, they don't, and I'm not gonna hate that. But the thing is,
but you look past it because it's awesome.
But it's not like that's the main point of the show.
Not at all. But you're willing to look past a little bit of it.
No, but it's never... Okay, drawing an attractive character is different than drawing an attractive character and constantly bringing it to being about them being attractive.
That's my point. That's my point, is that a lot of times, some people will only see that.
Yes, I'll agree. Yeah.
Like I have a friend that has...
But the story also throws it to that, where it's just like, hey, this character's only getting what they want because they're attractive. that happens in a lot of fan service ones.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this character is only important because they're attractive.
I guess, yeah, when you bring the story into a huge extent, then that's something you can't.
That's
look
the whole
past.
argument with Madoka Magica.
Well,
none of the characters are really that interesting. It's that they're
Well,
all
they
just
are.
semi-attractive.
They're all interesting. No,
That's the
not
argument.
at all. That's bullshit.
That's the argument.
You haven't even seen all of it. You don't
I
know.
haven't seen all of it, no, but that's what I'm saying is
That's bullshit.
I'm not really into it.
You have no idea what you're talking about. It's
But
literally
that's the
the
argument.
same as Evangelion.
I know, but that's the argument with it, is that it's fan service because
It's not fan service. There's no fan service in it. There's no erotic scenes at all in it. Evangelion has way more fan service than Madoka Magica does.
No, but that's the thing. Do you see erotic scenes as fan service, or do you see the fact that every character is an attractive person as fan service? Because that's what I mean. There's a difference. There's manga that's made to be perverted and has those scenes purposefully.
It's not.
But
the Madoka's not perverted at all. They just look kind of cute, but it's like whatever.
But that's the thing, that every
You look
character
past it because the story is cool as fuck.
But the thing is, a production agency went, we have to make every character look cute. There is no character that cannot look cute other than the bad guys. Like, that's what I mean.
I think that's a pretty unique exception because they did it on purpose.
Yes,
They did it to make a statement
but
about
that's what
stuff
is
of that
fan
genre.
service, though. And
but
that's
it's
the
not,
argument.
It in itself is not fan service, though.
But that's the argument with Evangelion. None of the erotic scenes in Evangelion happen because, like, oh shit, like, people want to watch
It's
that.
making a
like,
statement about sexualization in anime.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And there's a line. It's not as clear,
well,
but
that's the thing
there's
is
a line.
that in Madoka Magica, I could totally look past it because I
there's an
really
argument.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, there's an
I
argument.
really enjoyed the characters. I thought the story was great. I thought the art was really cool. I liked everything about it. And the first episode, I was maybe I had my reservations about how the characters look. By the end of it, I fucking love the character designs. I thought they were great.
At the end, it's the argument with Madoka Magica that's funny is the
You
counter
haven't
to
seen
that.
all of it.
No, that's fair. I'm not going to say, but I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying that argument's always been there.
You're saying that you can't look past it because the characters are cute.
I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about legitimately, like, online, how do I put this? People who watch it a lot, or crazy-ass otakus, will always argue that the arguments between the two, one is Madoka and the other is Evangelion, where it's just like, Evangelion doesn't have fan service because it's all based in the story. It's like, well, people say that about Madoka, and it's like, well,
They're both based in the story, though.
But there aren't characters in Evangelion. The argument is that there aren't characters in Evangelion that are drawn to look good all the time. That's
but
the
they
thing.
do, though.
Not all of them. Shinji looks like a goddamn wreck half the
Okay,
time.
I don't think Shinji was made to turn anybody on.
And his dad, or like half the.
I'm talking about the female characters.
Yeah, no, but that's the thing. You're only talking about that. But in Madoka,
Yeah.
there are only female characters.
Yeah, which isn't a bad thing at all.
No, but that's what I'm saying. There are no male characters.
So?
They didn't think to write any.
Well, yeah,
That's the argument in fan service, that they're writing only female characters to bring in a more male viewing audience.
Yeah, it's kind of an ode to, Clamp and Shoujo and stuff,
But
where
that's
it's
what I'm saying.
predominantly
That's
female.
what I'm saying the fan service argument is. What's the line? Is it that everyone is drawn to look a certain way, or is it that there are erotic scenes? Because
I think you're getting
those
into.
sort of things.
I think you're getting into a little bit of dangerous territory when you shun something for having.
I don't shun it. I just didn't want to watch it. But then I also don't want to watch a lot of slice of life. I don't watch a shit ton of slice of life.
That's
fair.
fair.
Because I don't really like it.
But I don't think. Yeah, I don't think something should get labeled as fan service just because it has all female characters that are strong.
I'm saying
and don't
that
need
term
men.
is very opinionated.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying right now.
I agree.
That's why I don't think it's fan service at all.
No, I agree, and a lot of people don't, and that's why it's popular. And I agree. That's the same with Evangelion.
I've heard people say the same thing about Kill la Kill also. But people legitimately like it and will argue the same thing that I'm arguing right now.
I will agree with that.
I haven't seen it. I can't say that.
It's just a battle manga with hot chicks in it. That's the idea. And they wear skimping clothing.
Sounds like fan service, but maybe people are really into the battle scenes and the story. And they'll look past the skimpy clothing. Maybe the reason they have skimpy clothing is so that people will give it a chance.
Exactly.
Which is really a big thing about the manga and anime industry in general. Like, people, artists will only get known if they do, a porno parody.
That's not true.
Well,
a lot of
it's a
people
way
that break through without any.
It's
of
a
that.
way for them to break through, doing fanzines and shit.
Yeah, but
It's a way to get their name out there.
What a lot of people usually do is they work as editors for people who are famous for the time,
Yeah.
and then build their own under them, and then break. Because the guy who made One Piece worked as an editor. He's huge now, but he worked as an editor for a guy who made Rurouni Kenshin, and that guy made it like, what was it? I think 6 years before One Piece came out.
Yeah.
Rurouni Kenshin, and then he was one of his top editors for him.
Yeah.
Or not editors, sorry, assistants for what's his name? Nobuhiro Wadatsuki, the guy who made Rurouni Kenshin. And then after his generation ended, that's when Ichiro Oda jumped in and was like, "Yo, I've been working on this for time. I got an idea." Like a lot of people work as assistants and editors.
It's the same.
that reason.
I'm reading Miyazaki's book right now, and it's a similar sort of thing. He worked, I think, for 15 years as an animator.
Yeah.
Before he made his own show, and then the show did well, and then he made a manga,
And you work from there. Yeah.
And then he kind of he talks a lot about, you know, the only really way to break in the industry is to just work hard and be willing to work hard at your own idea on the side with no guarantee that it'll ever actually happen.
Oh, definitely.
But
That's a lot of manga.
But being prepared for when the opportunity comes, being prepared to actually take it.
Knowing what you're getting into. Yeah.
And he says, you know, like, to a certain extent, working in anime is just it feels like you're working in an auto factory. It's just very tedious work. You're not being very creative. You're not really putting your...
That's
he
if
says,
you are
you know,
an
to an
animator.
extent, you can put your own ideas and your own flair into something that might carry over into the final product. But for the most part, you're just doing a labor job, and that might not be the reason why anyone would want to get into it. It's
That's
very
also with
creative field. Absolutely. And he just says that, you know, he kept working hard at it until he got his chance, and then he took it.
Yep.
And now he's one of the biggest animated filmmakers ever.
Yeah, exactly. This is about working hard and knowing what you want to do.
Yeah,
And the thing is, like you said, a lot of people can break through doing like a porno parody if they want. But hey, that's if they want to do it. Like, if they're willing to draw
It's definitely not the only way.
Exactly.
But it goes back to, I guess, the idea of sexualization in anime, where, you know,
that's the thing. That line that says fan service is only drawn by whoever watches it. There's never any anime that says it's fan service, because a lot of people say stuff like Gurren Lagann is also fan service because its story is stupidly simple and it's just about battles and hot chicks. Like, and you can say that, but people really love it because certain scenes just look epic as fuck and they're willing to rewatch it again.
Yeah, and you recognize that some stuff isn't great, but you like it.
Exactly.
You look past those things that aren't great.
And
You're honest with yourself. You admit that is not that good, but you still like it anyways.
Exactly.
And I think I felt that way about a lot of slice of life that I watched this year.
That's why I said Madoka isn't bad. I just don't want to watch it.
It's just not for you. It's just not your thing.
Like, that's the same reason I told you I don't watch a lot of slice. I don't watch a lot. I read a lot of martial arts based ones or like delinquent based ones essentially, and they're great. Like I read Crows. I don't know if anyone's heard of Crows, but that's a great read. But it's just about a delinquent high school. There's nothing really special about it. It's just 16-year-old kids just beating the shit out of each other every day because they got nothing to do, and they're just gonna wait till they graduate and work at like convenience stores and shit, like or just make a gang. Like their life plans aren't very high. Like
Yeah. It was funny because I felt a similar way when I watched Welcome to the NHK. I really, really liked it. I connected so much with the characters, and I loved the music. I loved the animation. I thought it was really cool, and I love the themes of the show, but I knew the story wasn't really very good.
That one's really original.
The ending was very unsatisfying, but I didn't care.
Yeah.
I didn't care because I just enjoyed it overall, and I knew that if I showed it to someone who wasn't into anime or just, you know, had no connection to it, I just showed it to somebody random off the bat, they'd probably think it sucked and wouldn't get it.
Oh, yeah.
Would have a hard time connecting with it.
What's great about Welcome to the NHK is that it's one of the first ones when you see it after watching a bunch of others, I'll say. It's the one where nothing good happens. Nothing like the character doesn't progress positively. If anything, he regresses and becomes a worse person. Or not, well, not
I
a
don't
worse.
think that's true.
It's just more like nothing happens. And like you're hoping something, and you're hoping this character will work out and become better, but like not really.
Well,
He's
that's the
just,
thing is that
he's
like
just kinda living.
even like so much mainstream slice of life is just so over dramatic.
Yeah, I'll
And
agree.
that's why I love this show is that, you know, his final victory in the end is just, you know, I'm getting by.
Yeah, I'm not.
I'm getting by.
I'm a bit happier than I was before.
I'm able to get by.
I'm good. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
I can buy
And that's
more
what was
expensive
so-
beer. I'm good.
That's what was so refreshing about it. And it was so true to, in a way, I feel like a lot of slice of life is very ironic in its very name.
Oh yeah,
It's just how dramatic and over sensationalized it is.
that's why I don't read
And
a lot.
I felt
Can't
like
deal.
when I watched Your Lie in April, I felt like it was kind of hard for me to look past a lot of that.
That's why I said
because-
I didn't like it at all, because it was just a bit too melodramatic.
It was just a little bit, but that's the thing is because there's things I really liked about it too. I really loved the piano scenes. I thought those
know.
were so cool. The
I
scenes with
know.
his mother were fucking great.
Yeah, but the
Yeah,
thing
those
is,
those felt so real.
but it's not about any
and
of that.
the last, I liked like the first 10 episodes, and then I liked the last episode,
I didn't.
and then everything in between, I was kind of just getting
So
through.
it's just Twin Peaks. Okay. And then, but it's just so over dramatic,
It's very over.
and
But
I
I
can't
don't know.
deal.
It's kind of, it's funny because I could deal, but I was just like, you know,
This
I
is a
hope,
bit much.
I hope no one else is in the room right now. It's one of those things.
Oh, that's great. You know
It's
what I
one of
watch? It's like no one can see me watching this.
Exactly. It's like I have no shame right now. I'm very happy watching this alone.
Oh, that's good.
As long as no one's here to judge me, I'm having a great time. And I felt the same way about when I watched Hibike Euphonium.
Okay.
It was not good, but I enjoyed every episode. It was
That's kind of me with FLCO. FLCO is too weird for someone to just casually watch. So it's like whenever I'm watching FLCO, I'm like, yeah, don't expect for any of this to make sense.
not
I'm
at all.
just gonna
That's
enjoy it.
That's another thing of its own. Yeah, that's another thing that I wouldn't expect other people to like, but I really love.
Oh, FLCO is
Because
just
it's so
fucked up.
cool, yeah.
I love it. And that's the thing. You could say that's fan service.
Yeah.
This is just mindless shit. And
Yeah,
but I
Nichiju.
love it.
Nichiju too. Like a lot of the jokes don't really.
Really? I
Don't
think
work
Nichiju is
for
just
me.
a great comedy. I love it.
It's great, but a lot of the jokes aren't funny.
Really? I think they're great.
Well, that's because when you see more of it, there's a lot of jokes that just don't really work. At least for me, but I was able to look past it because there's a lot of really, really good jokes.
To me, the joke when that happens is that even when that happens, half the characters are usually like, that joke sucked. Like,
Yeah.
it's usually the one that made it that's just like, yes, I made the joke. Like,
That was another kind of fresh one where they make it super over dramatic on purpose. They just like
Exactly.
pull the throttle and say, you know what,
they
if this is
steer
gonna
into the
be,
skid.
but they don't. It doesn't take itself seriously at all,
Not
which is what's so cool
Yeah,
about
the
it.
principal fights a deer for no reason, other than the deer comes onto their.
And there's a little
School
girl
property.
that somehow built a robot that takes care of her that's more mature and smarter than she is somehow.
Just more mature, not smarter.
Not smarter. She's a genius somehow, but she has no common sense.
Well, I mean, she's like,
She's a little girl.
yeah, she's like 10.
And
And then
she
the
owns a
robot's
house.
like 16.
And she
But
own- they own a house somehow.
But the
too.
robot thinks that people at school don't think it's a robot, even though it has a giant wind-up toy on its back.
Yeah, well, they know she's a robot.
Yeah,
which is-
but the robot doesn't think they know. At least for the first bit, she's
Which is
like,
great.
"I'm just a regular girl," and it's like, I don't think anyone really wants to break that to her.
Which is one
No
thing
one
that I
does.
love. That's just one example of something that's just so weird and inventive that I love about anime that I could see people
They're
just
great jokes.
not being able to deal with.
They're great skits I see, especially in a lot of comedy. Like what I really love Gintama because Gintama will stray away from its ridiculously serious moment for a joke. It'll never it will never mind to do that. It will always, even in a moment where like a character's gonna die or like everyone's bleeding out or maybe a character just died, he'll make a joke. He doesn't give a shit. Like,
All right, so out of 10, what do you give Interstella 5555?
it's an 8. It's definitely worth. It had my attention the entire time. Again, the
Yeah.
only problem with it to me was the explosion. But
That was the last act.
yeah, even the scenes after were good. It's just you could see them coming. That's it. But there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Especially if you got great music over it. So it's worth seeing.
Yeah, I think.
I'll give it an 8. No problem.
Yeah, I'll give it an 8 too. Solid 8.
Yeah.
Not too bad. All right, let's take a little break and then we'll get into some more shit.
Oof. Get some real shit.
Yeah.
No name off the drug, no name quit the weed. Telephone delight, love is all I need.
Yo, have you seen the trailer for the new Magic School Bus?
There's a new Magic School Bus. Why?
I've only heard of that there's a trailer.
I don't know why I even just said that. Why am I surprised? Hell, I'm the man who reviewed Kindergarten Cop 2.
Here we go.
Oh god.
Netflix Magic School Bus. Here we.
Bus rides again? That means it's not the OG characters.
Bus rides again. Oh.
Is it the OG bus, but not the
let's
OG
see.
characters?
Oh my god.
Ooh.
Whoa, total frizzle overload. To the bus.
Wait, what?
Something's
Oh, she gets replaced, doesn't she?
You're going to have great new adventures, class.
Whoa. Thanks, sis. Come along, everyone.
Well, they got the same voice
My big
actors, though.
sister always
Did they?
says.
Are they the same kids?
I don't know.
Doesn't look like it. Sick.
I love it.
Surfing on the sound wave, swinging through the storm.
Awesome.
Finger left at your intestine. Take your second right past Mars on the magic scuba.
Let's do this.
I wonder what this one does.
Magic scuba,
A whole new world out there just waiting to be discovered.
magic scuba. Raft a river of lava on the magic scuba.
I'm pretty sure this wasn't on my permission slip.
So strap your bones right to the sea.
I don't know if they put the same characters.
I don't think they are. You would know if there was Arnold.
Yeah.
I am on a
Oh.
roll today.
Let's go again.
So the old one is just there to pass the torch, I guess.
Well, of course. I mean,
Goldie, our adventure begins.
So she's still
yeah,
around.
she's still around, I guess. But, like, I don't know.
Oh man, I'm not a fan of that animation at all.
Oh, why not?
It looks weird,
It's
man.
so smooth comparatively.
Exactly. It just weirds me out. Like, look at this. This is.
It's the OG.
It's so much smoother though and real looking. It's way more detailed too.
Yeah, but like, it's really specific. There's only other than the
No,
school.
this is way better animation.
No, but that's the thing. Other than the school, there's no other reusable scenes. I'm pretty confident in the new one. There's gonna be a lot of them.
Yeah. I don't know. That one looked pretty sloppily animated in my opinion.
Well, there was quite a bit of money put into this one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It's a Netflix series. It probably didn't get a huge budget. I think it is the same characters. Or they just like balanced out the races of the characters in the same way.
yeah, they probably just use the same templates, but like switch
Yeah.
them up a bit to make them look a little different. Because there was the one with the hat. But then again, that's not a very like distinctive feature. Like, it's a hat.
The space one. That's the best one. Just because
Really, just because
Arnold-
he dies.
it's just he's just like, you know what? I'm sick of your shit. Fuck it. He just takes the helmet off.
Because he dies.
You guys have been dicks to me all the time. I'm just gonna fucking take this helmet off. He's like, you guys give me shit every day. Go to hell.
You know what's funny? I was thinking about things that constantly get rebooted but just get accepted. And the only thing that really does is Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo has like every different version for every different
Yeah,
year.
you keep
and
making
no one
Scooby-Doo
gives
forever.
a fuck. Like,
Tons of like Spider-Man shows and like Batman shows.
there are not
or
tons of Spider-Man shows. There are a few. There aren't that many new ones.
Ninja
comparatively.
Turtles.
Ninja Turtles has 3.
Oh.
Scooby-Doo has like 7.
Yeah, that's true. There's always a new Scooby-Doo. I'm trying to think of what else. I mean, Pokemon's been going forever, but
But
it never.
Pokemon has different seasons, and with
Yeah.
the same main character it's
Yeah.
had for all of them.
It's true.
And I guess you could say the same for Scooby-Doo, because Scooby-Doo is always there.
Yeah, there's never
And-
not Scooby Doo.
Well,
How could you have Scooby Doo with not
Scrappy's
Scooby?
sometimes around. but
Scrappy's
fuck
occasionally.
Scrappy-Doo.
and occasionally you get Scrappy, but it's about Scooby.
Yeah, but at the same time, there's so much Scooby-Doo and no one gives a shit. It's great. I actually love how no one cares about Scooby-Doo that much. That's like, hey, sweet. It's like, oh my god, I can't believe they put out a new Scooby-Doo. It's
That's just
always
a great formula.
sweet, new Scooby-Doo.
It's a simple mystery show for kids.
It's great.
Did you enjoy trying to like figure out the mysteries as a kid? As the episode went on?
I didn't care. I was just like, I wonder what's gonna happen.
You enjoyed the ride?
Yes. I did really like old Scooby-Doo though. Like the original one
It was great, yeah.
It's very formulaic. There
Exactly,
are a lot
but
of
you never
scenes. The
you never get
backgrounds-
tired of it.
It's just the backgrounds change.
There's-
the walking, the way they look at things.
There's the joke scene at the beginning, and then something happens, and then there's the setup, and then there's like an initial like spooky scene, and then there's a lot of filler, and then there's a bunch of joking and spooky
the
scenes.
casual Scooby and Shaggy walk off when they split
Yeah.
up. I've memorized that walking animation. That walking animation is the same
was a great
every
part.
episode. It's like knowing the morph scene in Power Rangers. It's never different. It's always the same. Or when they make the Zord, it's always the same.
Yeah.
It's never different. It's the same like 4 minutes in every episode.
But kids like the same things.
It's true,
They
to a
find
degree.
something they're like. Why would you change it?
It's true to a
If
degree.
you like what somebody's doing, why would you take that away from them?
Then why make a new kindergarten cop?
And we saw how that ended. The movie should not have been made.
Yeah, it's
Do you think that movie should have been made?
I think direct to DVD was a good choice.
But regardless, do you think Kindergarten Cop 2 should exist?
I think as an idea that goes direct to DVD, sure. Like,
You're happy that some people got paid to do that?
I mean, people
You're
need
happy-
to eat. People Dolph
You
needs
think-
to eat, Sean.
What was the budget of Kindergarten Cop 2? Let's look this up.
But like, I mean, those films are gonna get made regardless. So I'm glad that they didn't blow a huge budget on it and try to make it a theatrical release. It's like, fuck it. We're doing this for money. Let's be honest about it. Throw it direct to DVD. Get like a B-list actor and just go from
At
there.
least they're honest about how shit they are.
Exactly. Just like Red Letter when they make films and videos. They do it for fun. Well, then again, they do it for fun, yeah. Not for cash.
It doesn't. It's a mystery.
I guess no one cared enough.
If anybody listening to this podcast has any inside information on the budget for Kindergarten Cop 2, we'd like to know. It would settle this argument. Financial information? What? Oh, wow. The website. Oh,
Okay,
here.
its domestic DVD sales was 66,000. I don't know how much
Wow.
it went to make it, but
Definitely
its
more than that. That
sales-
would be a very small budget.
its sales
Dolph
was
Lundgren would not work for that little.
Yeah, its sales were only $68,535.
Probably lost a lot of money.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised.
Regardless, the money they spent on making the movie, do you think it could have gone towards something better?
Oh, of course. I mean, that's not even a question.
Exactly.
But, like,
So do you think it deserves to be a movie?
does Death Note deserve to be remade for Netflix? No, but
No,
I'm pretty
I feel the
confident-
same way about that
But
too.
it happened anyway, so I
Exactly.
can't deal with. What am I supposed to do, Sean?
You be angry and you chirp it on a podcast.
Like, I totally agree. You could take this money and throw it into something hopefully original and something that hopefully works out. But who's willing to do that these days?
Nobody. They want to
Exactly.
maybe break even on a sequel with a less famous actor.
Yep.
That's how you get them.
It's how you make them dollar bills.
Yep.
You go straight to DVD.
Alrighty.
Or you could just make the new Fast and Furious. Because that thing's never going to die.
Yeah, they're not fucking around with that.
Nope.
They're-
Even if actors in the movie die, that series will literally never. It has The Rock now. It
they'll
ain't
keep
gonna
it
die.
going, yeah.
Oh my God, that's gonna pay off his bills for like as long as he's alive.
I think Bruce Willis was in the last one, wasn't he? For
Was he?
a cameo? Yeah.
He dipped for a bit, I assume. I've only seen like the first 3 technically.
They just do whatever they can to.
I remember The Rock joined up in one, but he was like the cop that put them away, but didn't actually put them away. But now he's on their team just for more reasons to have Rock in the movie.
I mean,
And
can you ever get enough of The Rock?
apparently not. He's in everything these days. He's
Alright.
the perfect actor.
He's the perfect everything. He should be president.
What has The Rock done wrong? Name me something The Rock. The Rock has even pulled off the 90s fanny pack look. I mean,
His shit talking is on point too.
it's true. If any of you ever watched WrestleMania, he killed it. Then again, part of that is scripted, I'll agree, but like he did kill it in execution.
The delivery is such a huge part of
Oh,
it. Though.
of course. The Rock kills it. Oh, please about John Cena. John Cena deserves to get shit on. Well, he doesn't deserve it, but I mean, okay, his character totally deserves it. John Cena's a piece of shit. Or he isn't a piece of shit as a person. I just don't like him. He just sucks in WrestleMania.
I give a damn that he had the balls to stand in the middle of this ring. Said that he was back and that he was never leaving again.
You've got to be kidding me. You have got to be joking me. You got to be kidding me. John Cena, The Rock's Twitter blew up. Hundreds of thousands of tweets. The Rock's Facebook blew up. Hundreds of thousands of posts with the link. Rock, you got to check it out. You got to see it, Rock. You got to see what John Cena's been saying about you down in Australia. Couldn't believe it. Until I saw it with my own eyes, until I heard it with my own ears. Let The Rock get this straight, John. You go all the way down to Australia. You have a huge tour last week in Australia. And the way you close the show, the way you send the fans of Australia home is by running The Rock down. Is by talking trash about The Rock. And I wasn't even there. And it wasn't even that good. If you're going to talk trash about The Rock, at least be entertaining, John. Entertain the fans. But no. Why would you want to do that? No, you're only the WWE champion. Why would you want to entertain? No, but you let the anger and the resentment and the jealousy, it all seeped in, John Cena. Let The Rock put a nail in the coffin.
Oh man,
When
he
The
sounded a
Rock
little
said he was
douchey in
back
this
and he
one.
was never going away.
He always sounded like a dick.
I meant it.
Oh, are you kidding me? How much did you watch of it? Oh my God. The Rock is a total asshole, and he's great at it.
All over the WWE universe. The Rock headlining this past WrestleMania. The Rock headlining next year's WrestleMania. As embarrassing as this is for The Rock to say, John Cena, because you are the WWE champion, but yet at the same time, you're also a complete goof. You're a complete idiot, because you have this notion in your head. Well, that must mean, when The Rock said he was never going away, that he has to be at every single show, every single night, every live event. No, John Cena, that's not what it means, idiot.
He sounds
It's not
legitimately
what was
upset
ever
about this.
expected of The Rock. Why?
He might be.
Because The Rock
Maybe he had
has
something important to
already
do that
done
night.
it. Every single thing you're doing right now in the WWE, John, go into every show. Run in your mouth. I'm here. Everybody, I'm here. I'm here. Rock's not here. Shut up. The Rock has already done it. The Rock has already done it. Every single thing you're thinking about doing. Outside of the WWE, The Rock has already done it. As a matter of fact, The Rock has already done it better. Let The Rock remind you of something, John. When you were back in college, back in Massachusetts, and you were majoring in douchebagonomics, and you were running around playing your favorite game, hey, whose yum rocket is in my mouth? It was The Rock and all his boys from the Attitude Era, the greatest era in professional wrestling. We were on the road every single night, every single city, and every single state. Every country around the world, we were laying it down. The Rock was earning the nickname for life, the People's Champion. The Rock, all his boys from the Attitude Era, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Undertaker, Triple H, Mick Foley. The list goes on and on and on. Hey, Big Show, you name them. We were paving the way for chicks like you. Here is a fact, John Cena. You are an employee of the WWE. The Rock is not. You are obligated to go to every single show every single night. If you don't, guess what? You get fired. You run your mouth. Your idiotic mouth. Well, if The Rock says he's back, that must mean he needs to come to every show. And if he doesn't come to every show, that must mean he doesn't care. Let The Rock tell you something, Goof.
He probably has something really important to do.
Every time The Rock goes back to an event in the WWE, it's because he cares. It's because he cares about the people. He wants to entertain the people. Because let me tell you something, it ain't for the money, Jack. The Rock ain't doing it for the money, John. I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. I damn sure don't do it for the money. But here's another fact. You go to every single show, every single night, you do it. Fact, for the paycheck. You do it for the money. Because, John, you damn sure ain't doing it for free. Now, what else you got? What else you got, John? Let's hear it.
Because I am not an actor, I am a professional wrestler. That is what I do because of crowds like you. So if you...
I am not an actor. I am a professional wrestler. And I do this for crowds like you. And I'll talk to you just like this until
He's
you
getting
like
real
me.
now.
He
Until
is,
everyone
apparently.
likes me. Please, like that. Shut your bitch ass up. John Cena, you're down in Australia. You're whining, you're crying like a little baby. You're angry. Let The Rock tell the world why you're angry.
Oh my
I can
God.
hear you right now.
Wait, how long?
This is 11 minutes.
Holy
Shut your
shit.
mouth. Here's why John
The
is
Rock.
mad.
Yeah, he could monologue back in the
It's the same
day.
process every single
going
night,
for it.
in every arena
No,
around
he's
the world.
dude's
You're in your
charismatic as
locker room,
fuck.
John.
He can talk
You're
for
getting dressed,
time.
You're putting on your little tough guy sneakers. You're sliding on your jean shorts. Yeah, your tough guy jean shorts that nobody's worn since 1992. But that's okay. No, but that's okay. But then, you're putting on your red wristbands, tough guy wristbands, and you put them up here. Oh, more strength and power you get. Yeah, like a superhero. And it says, you can't shame me there. Yeah, you're looking like a bloated transvestite Wonder Woman, ready to fight crime. Pew, 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 pew. Then it's prayer time in your locker room.
That's great.
Dear Lord, is tonight the night that they're all gonna like me, especially the men? Is tonight the night that they're not gonna boo me, especially the men?
Sure.
Is tonight the night? Well, Gene, I think, but my name's John. It doesn't matter what your name is. Then it gets even worse. Your music hits.
He's taking this personal.
Oh, you go running down like a lost snagglepuss. You slide in the ring, you throw your hat, you take off your shirt, yeah. Oh, you're full of energy and fire, and then your music stops. Shh, stop, shh. You hear something, John, that eats away at your very soul, eats away at your very core. You hear this in every arena around the world. It kills you because you know you're going to hear it for life. Let's go, Sheena! Sheena sucks!
Okay. Alrighty, I think the listeners have had enough of
Oh damn!
The Rock for now.
You guys got to hear some OG Rock.
That was
Then again,
great.
that was relatively new, but that's essentially what he's like in WWE.
That was great. I enjoyed that. I could watch that for a while.
That's, oh god, yeah, that's what he is. He's great. He shit talks. That's all. Well, that's what a lot of wrestling is. A lot of wrestling is just shit talking half the time and then wrestling the other half of the time. Because it's like, shit talked enough. We gonna take this down. And then they fucking take each other out.
Alrighty. Now, let's get into it. The act of
God.
killing.
Oh god.
Let's open up that can of worms.
It is only a can of worms. It's great. It's
Where do we even begin?
It's a great film. The footage that these people have got are actually, it's incredible. It's great stuff. It's stuff you didn't think you'd ever see especially in a documentary. Just, you never think you'd see this from people, I guess.
It's pretty.
And again, I guess that's what makes a good documentary.
The subjects of the documentary are people who you never thought you would see in a documentary, especially in that personal of a way.
Yeah,
They get very close to them.
which is a hard thing to do, especially considering the type of people they are.
And essentially what it boils down to is it's a movie about a group of murderers.
Yeah, and how they murdered for their country to bring their people into power. And
I mean, I think throughout it, you understand that they know that doesn't justify what they did.
These aren't people who like legitimately fought in a war or something. These are
no,
people
there was
who, like,
there's no
crowded up-
chivalry to anything
Yeah.
they did. They tortured people.
And not to say that
who were already
chivalry is what
captured.
makes a warrior, but at the same time, yeah, that's the thing. They just tortured and killed people. They didn't.
They
like, they never
yeah.
fought anyone.
None of them were athletic at all. None of them had really any military. It didn't seem like any of them knew basic
They're
training.
just like
military.
casual killers.
They're just they're just people who killed people, and that's it. Like,
yeah. One of them would say that like he uses one of the things they talk about a lot is that the way they kill people without they choke them to death with a wire.
Yeah, the main character
with a piano wire. They tie them up. They already were tied up. They bring them to this roof and then they just choke them out with piano wire and get rid of the body. And then that's it. Like that's literally all they did. And they did that to a fuck ton of people.
And yeah, it was a situation where anybody who
opposed them.
Anybody who opposed
they
the party
questioned it or questioned them, and they were like,
anybody who
fuck
spoke
it.
up. Yeah, it was total fascism.
Yeah, and we need to send a message, and it's like if people are gonna be like this, then we're just gonna kill them off, and then people stop being like this.
And
so
I think what really is because anybody can just say things, give you a bunch of stats about these people, but to actually get in and see what their daily life is like.
Yeah, they went to. You can.
It's
tell,
a whole other level,
You can tell these people are fucked up, like mentally, and the entire movie they never say it. One does, but that's only literally at the end of the movie. The entire film, these people are ridiculously proud of what they've done, and because of that, they're very unstable people.
And you wonder if their pride is just a coping mechanism to keep themselves sane. I think the same way about the bombers for Hiroshima. Most of them, I think all of them except for one went completely insane. And the one who didn't go insane is just super gung-ho, like, I did what I had to end the war. It was totally necessary. I had to do it. And you wonder if that's just a coping mechanism to keep him from going insane. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because how can you justify killing hundreds of thousands of people? You can't.
That guy in this movie, remember right at the beginning when he explains the wire. So they take you to the roof that they literally do this in, and he explains the wire, and he's like, "Oh, it's great. You get to kill people without because at first when we stabbed someone or like slit their throat, there was a fuck ton of blood, and that was annoying to clean up. So we don't want to clean up blood if we're gonna be killing like hundreds of people. So we use the wire." And then they're like, "Oh, the wire's great because there's no blood, and then we can throw the body away. And it's great because like after nights we just throw the body away, and then I get really high on E and drink a fuck ton and just go dancing." And then like that's literally word for word what he says. And the way he speaks about it is just so casual. He's just like, "Oh man, it was great times. Man, I got to kill a guy, then I went and got drunk, and then I danced, and then like maybe I got a girl." And then it was like, dude, this isn't normal.
Yeah,
there's nothing about that that's normal.
And it's crazy just how in their view, their morals are so relative to them.
Yeah.
Because they don't believe in human rights at all. And there's the part where they say, you're violating the, was it the Geneva Convention or the...
yeah, like the Geneva Convention technically. And then he's like, so fuck the Geneva Convention.
Oh, no, and then he's like, well, yeah, but today it's the Geneva Convention, tomorrow it's the Jakarta Convention.
Yeah.
It's just going to be changing all the time, so why pay attention to it at all?
Yeah.
Which is kind of the way...
Just ignorance is bliss, there's no point.
The way they justify it. And, they say that because we're always changing our...
beliefs.
Our morals over time... that there's no point in having any?
Or we should stick to ours because everyone else's is constantly changing. So we should just stick to ours and ours is right. It's essentially the same way religions are, where it's like, hey, my God's real and your God isn't because of such and such and so. where it's just like, yeah, that doesn't mean anything, but it's just faith is faith. It doesn't have to really have any meaning behind it. It's just what you can force other people to believe. And that's kind of their belief, where it's just like, they're like, yeah, man, we killed so many people, but like we did it for a good cause, and like we're rich as shit now and have like a fuck ton of money and can do whatever the hell we want, so we don't care. And we think it's great that we chose this path and this way it worked out. But that's just, you can't agree with it. They try to spin it so positively, but there's no way you can really see it that way.
Mm-hmm. It's funny because they try their hardest to justify their actions. But
Yeah.
They, at the end, and they're really, you know, the filmmakers giving them.
They give them the chance.
They give them their spot.
They give them the honest
no
choice.
way.
They're like, they don't ask them any pre-made questions. They don't like, they're like, yo, just tell me your life. Like, how do you feel today? Like, not even, it's like a day by day thing. Cause there's some days where they feel like shit and like, or at least some of them feel like shit, and it's very apparent. And, but for some of them, especially the younger ones, they're like always happy because they're living the high life now because of the shit they did when they were
Or they
younger.
just want you to think they're always happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's very, they have neuroses that are very apparent. Like anytime a car would drive by or anything like that, they would just all instantly stop talking and just stare at them. Like as if someone's out to get them. Like they're constantly looking over their backs and they're like always on guard. And because of that, like you can easily see that their past, because of their past, they're like this now. They're constantly looking over their back because they killed so many people that they wouldn't be surprised if someone came to kill them. Like, and they don't want to die. So it's just this huge conundrum, which is really strange.
Yeah. What do you think of I guess what gives the film its edge is that they told them they could reenact their killings in any way they wanted.
God, that was bad.
And they chose to do it in like a Hollywood kind of fashion.
Not even.
Where they would reenact their favorite movies.
Yeah, they reenacted their favorite killings and or scenes of destruction, which included them burning down people's houses. And we thought about it for a second and we were like, wait, this isn't a theatrical film, meaning that when they recreated that scene, they did it to real people. That they probably went to some slum in their area and threw a bunch of money at these villagers and just said, buy a new straw house and we'll just burn down your house.
Mm-hmm.
Because they also got villagers to act, I say act with air quotes, in their reenactments, and those people didn't look like they were acting.
Not
It looked
at all.
like they
It
lived
definitely
through
brought
this
up
shit,
some trauma.
and
yeah.
like one woman legitimately clammed up and stopped moving entirely, and like her eyes were open and she like blinked every now and then, but like people tried to help her up into a seat or something. She like literally locked up, didn't move a single limb, didn't move.
She was unable to. She's totally frozen.
Yeah, and it was just like, this isn't acting. This is clearly not acting for these people. This is legitimate. Like,
it was funny how
this is just this happening to them again. Like, it's
their view of
crazy.
Western society was pretty interesting also because they viewed us through our movies, which sure can be violent, and they kind of used that as a way to, they said they wanted to be more like Westerners in that way.
Yeah, they were like, our movies
And I
are
guess
really
that's
violent.
because their movement was very anti-communist, and I think their party, in the beginning, the titles, it says that their militia was backed by the U.S. government.
Yeah.
And it's funny how they feel like they adopted these Western values when really they're just picking.
They're picking the parts.
They're just
they
cherry
like.
picking, the parts they like.
And that makes sense because that's the whole idea where they only bring up movies. They only bring up violent culture. They're just like, oh man, Americans have so much violent culture all the time. Like there's so many movies you can see where people die and like read books where people die and like stuff like that. They just talked about the violent side of our culture, and they're like, our side isn't violent enough. Like we need to be more ready for this type of shit. Because like if kids there are seeing this all the time, then they're gonna grow up to be violent, and we gotta be ready. And it's like, no, that's really not it at all. You're just trying to spin it to your own desires.
It was just crazy seeing how they painted the society as a whole and just how corrupt the political system was and just how everybody just kind of accepted it. Or they don't accept they have to. I
Yeah,
mean,
because that's the thing. It's
they
just
just
like, what are
live
you
with
going to
it.
do?
Life goes on, yeah.
If you try to do something, you will legitimately putting your life at risk. And not
Yeah.
just your life. If you have a family or something like that,
And it's
you're
just-
putting all of them at risk.
it's just crazy that it's been that way for so long.
Yeah.
And people just live their lives. People have lived their entire lives under their rule.
Yeah, but that's also the idea with, what was it, North Korea?
Yeah.
You're born in North Korea, then I'm sorry for you in the sense that, like, the amount of rules that you were just born into is more than I've probably experienced
Which
in my
is
entire
weird
life.
because
like,
we didn't really, they do a lot of sketchy gangster shit to stuff to people that they discriminate against, but they don't have this super fascist censored regime,
they don't care as long as they're taken care of.
Yeah.
The idea is more like, hey, I'll go kill a guy if I know that pays for my drinks tonight. Like,
Yeah.
they're very, like, we're living day by day, not really thinking about our futures, and then that's it. Like, especially in the way they act. It's
Yeah.
very apparent, like, they don't think about tomorrow.
Yeah.
They just constantly, like, what do I feel like doing today? I think, like, this movie, or them saying, like, hey, we'll make a movie, or, like, you recreate these scenes. That's why
they didn't think about it.
They
Yeah.
seemed so excited. Like,
Yeah.
this was the first time they were legitimately planning something out.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't think about tomorrow often.
Yeah.
They just went, got drunk, and did whatever the hell they wanted. Maybe terrorized some people. Like,
Yeah.
that's it. That's all there is to them.
Oh, yeah.
So it's really interesting. The movie itself, when you see them, like, trying to get into the film, you can see that, like, maybe if they didn't go into killing, maybe they'd try to do something else. But at the same time, like, the film they're trying to make is also a reflection of their past experiences. Kind of fucked up.
That's crazy. And I think we both, there's the one satisfying moment, I think, in the entire movie is at the end when the main character, he begins to have a flashback when he's put in the position of somebody being strangled. He volunteers to have somebody,
Yeah, he pretends to
to choke him.
Yeah, he pretends to be the victim in a scene they're
in one of his
recreating.
killings. And all of a sudden he has a flashback and he's like, no, this is not okay, and just freaks out. And
Yeah, and then he's just like, hey, and he's like, oh my God, I felt so afraid, and I honestly thought I was going to die for a second. And then he's just like, did other people feel? It's like, oh man, I totally felt it. And he just kept saying, I totally felt it. And then
And
he's
that's
like,
the one part
Yeah.
where the director steps in and
Yeah.
says, "No,
you
didn't feel
You
it
didn't feel shit
because you knew you actually weren't gonna die. You felt maybe a tiny little microfraction of what they were probably feeling
And then
because
yeah.
they knew they were gonna die."
Exactly. He's like, all your victims knew they were going to die, so you didn't feel anything of what they felt.
And it's amazing because you watch you've watched like 2 hours up until that point of him just keeping his mouth shut.
Literally 4 minutes in the scene before, you're watching a video of a tribute they made where a guy pretending to get strangled out shakes his hand and goes, "Thank you for killing me and thousands like me," in some weird ass propaganda film they made. Literally like 4 minutes before his breakdown scene.
And you wonder,
And he's like, "Oh my God, this is beautiful. I love this."
and the
is great."
director, he's so calm under pressure because even when he does step in and question them on that, he's very chill about it.
He picks his moments
He
because
picked
he
his
knows
moment
that
perfectly.
they can fuck him up if they really want
But
to.
he saw that he was vulnerable in that moment, and he saw
Exactly.
that he was so wrapped up and that he wasn't in any position of power in that moment.
Yeah.
And that he chose to push him at that moment. And he even said, he's like, "I did that to so many people, Joshua." He like called the director by his name because he's just so scared at that point of what he's done, knows that he can't change the past.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes the film so incredible is just the direction, and that he's able to just calmly view their society.
Yeah, that's what I was
And
saying.
just
A
take
lot
an
of the footage
unobjective
is really incredible
approach.
just to see because, like, the fact that like you said, the fact that he just stood there. It's not even because you'd say like, "Oh my God, if I ever saw this injustice or if I ever saw something like that, I'd do something." But the thing is,
But by
when
making the film,
he
he's
is
doing something.
exactly. But
And he wouldn't, if he stepped in at that moment, his movie would be over.
not even just his movie,
His life,
his
potentially.
life, and the people he is responsible for life at that point. His
Yeah.
crew, the people he has come with. he has a lot of responsibility on his shoulders, and doing the right thing at the moment is not always the best thing to do, unfortunately. And you'd love to see him or see people try to help out these people who need help and deserve help, especially from terrorism like this. But if he did, this movie wouldn't exist, and you wouldn't see any of this
and we wouldn't even know about any of this. And I think that's the most powerful weapon of all, is just being aware and spreading these ideas. And it really sucks
because you can always say, like, these types of things don't really help the people at their core because those people still get terrorized. And you're right, because at the end of the day, me talking about this on this podcast doesn't really change anything for these people. But if that guy chose to make that decision, I'm not saying that type of decision is wrong either. It's just if he chose to make that, I wouldn't be talking about it today.
Exactly.
Like, I can't say it any other way than that.
Yeah.
And that type of shit doesn't happen just there. I mean, that's all around the world to a degree. But still.
Yeah. Really, can't say I've ever seen anything like it.
Yeah,
apparently,
it's a hard watch. I'm not going to lie. There's some scenes where I legitimately felt so angry. Like, I was so fucking pissed at this dude for at least literally until that moment. And even at that moment, I wasn't, like, pissed anymore. I was really happy he was sad. Yeah. I was legitimately happy.
Well, that's what I was saying. It's the one satisfying part of the film.
Yeah, and, like, it hits a point where, like, you're hoping something's going to break out, or you hope some villager's just going to snap and try and kill someone and, like, hopefully get him. And hopefully they have footage. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I hated this guy.
But they've all grown up in that environment. They know better.
Yeah, exactly. And no one's going to make that kind of risk because they don't want to die. And that's a fair reason. Because that's just shitty.
Yeah. Alrighty, well. What do you give The Act of Killing?
Oh, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10 for me, too.
See it.
It's a perfect film. There's nothing wrong with it.
It'll make you feel. It'll definitely hit you somehow.
It'll make you uncomfortable. It'll make you feel.
I was very angry for a lot of it.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything they could have done better.
No. For a documentary, yeah. The fact again, when we watched the credits, more than half the people on the credits were credited as anonymous. They don't want to be involved just because they know it carries that risk. It is that real of a film.
Yeah.
It shows you some shit. Yeah. People should see it. Yeah.
Can we even talk about anything else now, or?
I don't know. Depends what you want to talk about.
I don't know.
If you want to learn something. I mean, every documentary is in that idea. That if you like, when we watched The Cove, I learned a lot about dolphin farming and hunting, which I didn't know much about, but learned quite a bit about it.
Yeah.
But that's all documentaries. This is really just if you want to learn about shitty parts of the world.
History in general, and in a more broad sense, human values and morality. And
if you want to learn about what other people have to deal with, that our world's pretty nice.
Absolutely. Well, should we leave it, or?
Up to you. Depends. What else did we see?
Alrighty. Thank you, everybody who hung in there.
Yeah.
Kept it real.
Definitely check out those films.
And, it's been real.
Yeah.